Welcome, and whether this is your first day on site or your 20th year in the job, thank you for taking this seriously. This is Module S1, Safety Induction. Your rights, your duties, and the culture that keeps people safe. It's the first module in the Qlause General Safety Series for manufacturing and industrial workplaces. In the next few minutes, we'll cover the deal between you and your employer, the 3 rights every worker has, how to recognize danger before it finds you, and exactly what to do when something goes wrong, or almost goes wrong. No jargon and no lecturing, just the things that keep people whole. Let's begin. Here's what you'll be able to do by the end of this module. First, you'll know the deal, what your employer must do to keep you safe, and what you must do in return. Because safety law everywhere in the world is built on that two-way promise. Second, you'll know your 3 rights: the right to know, the right to participate, and the right to refuse work that is clearly unsafe. Third, you'll be able to tell a hazard from a risk, and you'll know the one golden rule about stopping work. And finally, you'll know what to do and who to tell when something goes wrong or almost goes wrong. 1 module, 4 takeaways, and every one of them applies from your very first hour on site. Let's start with why we're here, and it isn't paperwork or posters. Around the world, millions of people are injured at work every year, and many thousands don't make it home at all. Behind every one of those numbers is an ordinary day that started exactly like this one. And here's the truth experienced people will tell you. Serious accidents almost never come out of nowhere. They come from small things: a guard removed just for a minute, a spill nobody owned, a warning that felt awkward to say out loud. Which means most accidents are preventable by ordinary people paying attention at the right moments. That's what this induction is for, not to frighten you, to sharpen you. So here is the ground rule this whole series stands on. No job is so urgent and no order is so important that it cannot be done safely. Say it to yourself once, because everything else follows from it. Production pressure is real. Deadlines, targets, a line waiting on you. But speed gained by skipping a safety step isn't speed. It's borrowed luck, and borrowed luck always gets repaid. If the safe way and the fast way ever point in different directions, the safe way wins. Every time, at every level, no exceptions. The goal of every shift, everywhere in the world, is the same. Everyone goes home, whole and healthy, every day. Safety is a deal, and it starts with your employer's side. Because in every major legal system, the heavier duty sits with the company. Wherever you work, your employer must provide a workplace that is, so far as reasonably practicable, safe, and without risk to your health. In practice, that means 5 things you can expect. Safe machines and equipment, properly guarded and maintained. Safe systems of work, procedures that describe the right way, not just the fast way. Information and training, in a language you understand, before you're exposed to a risk. This induction is part of that. The protective equipment the job requires, at no cost to you. And competent supervision, someone making sure the safe way is the real way. If any of these are missing, that's not a favor to ask for. It's a duty owed to you. Now your side of the deal, because the law places duties on workers too, and for good reason. No company can keep you safe without you. Your duties come down to 5 commitments. Take reasonable care of your own safety and of everyone your actions could affect. Your work touches other people's bodies, not just your own. Follow the safety rules and procedures. Every one of them was written on someone's bad day. Use the equipment and protection you've been given, the way you were trained to use it. Never remove, bypass, or interfere with anything provided for safety. A guard, an interlock, a sign, an alarm. And report hazards, incidents, near misses, quickly and honestly. None of this requires courage or genius. It requires consistency, on the boring days as much as the busy ones. Alongside your duties, you have rights, and they exist in South African law, American law, European law, and the ISO 45001 standard alike. The right to know. You are entitled to be told about the hazards of your job and trained before you face them. You should never have to guess what's dangerous. The right to participate. Safety isn't done to you, it's done with you, through safety reps, committees, toolbox talks, or simply raising your hand. Your eyes on the job are worth more than any inspection. And the right to refuse. If work presents a serious and imminent danger, you may stop, make it safe, or make it known, without punishment. These aren't perks a good employer grants you. They're the floor. Let's make that third right concrete. because it's the one people hesitate on. If you see a situation you genuinely believe could seriously hurt someone, you stop the task. Yours or anyone's. You don't need to be certain. You don't need seniority. You don't need the vocabulary of a safety officer. Stop. Something's not right here is a complete sentence. Then, make the area safe if you can do so without putting yourself at risk, and tell your supervisor or safety representative immediately. And here's the promise a healthy workplace makes in return. Nobody is ever punished for stopping work in good faith. A false alarm costs minutes. The alternative can cost a person. Stop first. Sort it out second. Two words you'll hear constantly: hazard and risk. And knowing the difference makes you sharper. A hazard is anything with the potential to cause harm. A moving blade, a chemical, electricity, a wet floor, a heavy box on a high shelf. The hazard just is. Risk is the chance that the hazard actually hurts someone, combined with how bad the harm would be. And that depends on how you interact with it. A blade behind a fixed guard is the same hazard, but a fraction of the risk. Why does this matter to you? Because you can rarely remove every hazard, but you can almost always reduce the risk, with distance, guards, procedure, and attention. Safety work is risk work. Module S2 goes deep on exactly this. For now, keep those two words separate in your mind. So where should you actually look? Most industrial harm comes from a short list of hazard families, and once you can name them, you'll start seeing them everywhere. Moving machinery and stored energy, the parts that cut, crush, and catch. Vehicles and pedestrians sharing the same space. Gravity, falls from height and objects falling onto people. Electricity, hot surfaces, and steam. Chemicals, what you can touch and what you can breathe. The slow hazards, noise, dust, vibration, repetitive strain. The ones that hurt you gradually, over years. And the floor itself, slips, trips, and poor housekeeping. Take a mental walk through your own area. You'll find most of these families represented. That's not alarming, that's normal. What matters is what stands between each hazard and you. And what stands between a hazard and you is called a control. And controls come in a strict order of strength, called the hierarchy of controls, from strongest to weakest. Eliminate the hazard completely. The danger you removed can never hurt anyone. Substitute. Swap in something less dangerous. Engineering controls, guards, interlocks, ventilation, barriers. The machine protects you whether you're paying attention or not. Administrative controls, procedures, training, signs, permits. Valuable, but they work only as well as human memory. And finally, personal protective equipment. The last line, not the plan. Here's why the order matters to you. Whenever you notice that the only thing between you and a serious hazard is a sign and your concentration, that is worth raising. Design beats discipline, every time. Let's talk about that last line of defense, because you'll wear it every day. Personal protective equipment. Your helmet, glasses, gloves, boots, hearing protection, and the rest. Matters for a simple reason. When everything else has failed, it's what's left. 4 habits make PPE actually work. Wear the right kit for the task, not the nearest kit. Make it fit. Glasses with gaps and loose gloves protect a little and reassure a lot. And that's worse. Check it. Scratched lenses, cracked shells, and worn soles get retired. Damaged PPE is a hazard wearing a disguise. And replace it through your sight system, at no cost to you. One more thing. PPE protects only you. It does nothing to the hazard itself. That's exactly why it sits at the bottom of the hierarchy, and why it's still completely non-negotiable. Now, the most underrated safety topic on any site, the ground you walk on. Slips, trips, and collisions put more people in hospital than almost anything else in industry, and they are the most preventable harm there is. The rules are plain. Keep walkways clear. A box left just for now is a trip hazard with a timer on it. Deal with spills immediately. Contain it, mark it, clean it, report it. And never just step over one, because the next person won't see it. Respect the lines on the floor. They separate people from forklifts and moving machinery, and they only work if everyone believes in them. Stop at crossings, and never assume a driver has seen you. Make eye contact first. Good housekeeping isn't tidiness for its own sake. It's the visible proof that a workplace is under control. A short word on machines. The full module comes later in this series, but 2 rules can't wait for it. Rule 1. Guards stay on. Every guard, Interlock and light curtain exists because a specific injury happened to a specific person, somewhere. A guard that's awkward to work around is a conversation to have, never a component to remove. If a guard is missing or defeated, that's a stop and report immediately. Rule 2. Only trained, authorized people clear jams, clean, or repair machines. Because a machine that's switched off can still hold energy, electrical, hydraulic, pneumatic, gravity, springs, and making it truly safe means isolating and locking out that energy. That's a skill you'll be trained in before you're ever asked to use it. Until then, hands out and call it in. Emergencies are exactly the wrong time to start learning. So learn now, this week. Know your alarm sounds, fire, evacuation, all clear, and what each one asks of you. Know your 2 nearest exits from every area you work in. 2, because the nearest one may be where the problem is. Know your assembly point and report to the roll call, because a missing name sends someone back inside to look for you. Know where your extinguishers, first aid stations, and eye wash points are, and who your trained first aiders and fire marshals are. And when an alarm sounds, stop, make your work safe if seconds allow, and walk. Don't run, don't detour, don't collect belongings. In an emergency, ordinary people who know the plan are the plan. When something goes wrong, or almost goes wrong, what you do next decides whether it happens again. Injuries, damage, spills, report them immediately, however small. First aid first, then your supervisor, and where it's serious, leave the scene untouched. The scene is information. But here's the bigger idea. Report the near misses. The pallet that almost fell. The 2 forklifts that almost met at the blind corner. The shock you almost took. For every serious injury, there are dozens of minor ones, and hundreds of near misses underneath, with the same causes and better luck. Every near miss you report is a free accident report, the lesson without the injury. Reporting one isn't admitting fault, and in a healthy workplace, it is never punished. It's one of the most valuable things you can do all week. Everything in this module works only inside the right culture. So here's what good looks like, and your part in it. Good safety culture has 3 habits. People speak up about hazards, mistakes, and workarounds, because raising a problem is treated as a contribution, not a confession. People look out for each other. A respectful, your glasses mate, to a colleague, or a new starter steered away from a blind corner, with no offense taken, because none is meant. And problems get fixed, visibly, and soon, because nothing kills reporting faster than a report that disappears into silence. Notice that none of this belongs to a department. Culture is simply what the group repeats. From your first day, you're either adding to it or subtracting from it. There is no neutral. Before we close, here's your practical homework. 7 things to find out in your first week, if you don't already know them. Who is my supervisor, and who is my safety representative? What are the main hazards of my job, and which controls protect me from each one? What PPE does my task require, and where do I get it replaced? Where are my 2 nearest exits and my assembly point? How do I report a hazard, an incident, or a near miss? What's the actual mechanism, on paper or on a screen? What must I never do here without training and authorization? And what does the alarm sound like? 7 questions, 1 week. A printable version of this checklist comes free with this module. Download it, walk your area, and fill it in for real. One honest note about the law. This module teaches the principles that are true everywhere, but the details of safety law are local. In South Africa, the Occupational Health and Safety Act and its regulations set the duties we've described. In the United States, it's the OSHA Act and the OSHA standards. Across Europe, the EU Framework Directive is carried into each country's own national law. And ISO 45001, the International Standard for Safety Management, wraps these same principles into a system many sites certify against. The good news: everything you've learned today is required, in some form, by all of them. But your site's own rules and procedures always come first, because they're written for your machines, your materials, your building. When in doubt, your site rules and your local law are the authority. Let's be precise about what you've just done, because honesty is a safety value too. This module is awareness training, the shared foundation every worker needs. It does not, on its own, qualify you for regulated high-risk work. First aid, firefighting teams, forklift and crane operation, working at heights, confined space entry, electrical work. These require formal, often practical, certified training under your local rules, and your site must arrange it before you do that work. If a task needs a license, a permit, or a certificate you don't have, that's a boundary. Respect it and say so out loud. Knowing the edge of your own training isn't a weakness. It's exactly what competence looks like from the outside. Let's land the 5 things worth keeping from this module. 1. Safety is a deal. Your employer owes you a safe workplace. You owe it your care, your compliance, and your voice. 2. You have 3 rights: to know, to participate, and to refuse clearly unsafe work. And a healthy site never punishes good faith. 3. Hazards are everywhere and always will be. What matters is the control between the hazard and you. And the stronger the control, the higher it sits on the hierarchy. 4. Report everything, especially the near misses. They're free lessons. And 5, above all, no job is so urgent that it cannot be done safely. Everyone goes home, whole, every day. That's the whole point. Everything else is method. That's the end of Module S1. Thank you for your attention, and welcome to the team, wherever your site may be. 3 things before you go. First, download the free companion pack for this module at Qlause.app. It includes the 10-question quiz, a 1-page toolbox-talk summary you can run with your own team, an attendance register, and the first week checklist. Second, this is Module 1 of a series. S2, Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment, picks up exactly where we've left off and teaches you to see danger before it moves. And third, the only certificate that really matters is the one you renew every shift, by working the way this module describes. Stay sharp, look after each other, and we'll see you in Module S2.